This is what this speaker can do. This is dynamics and the sheer power you just can't get with normal hi-fi speakers. Even if you buy some crazy shit for $100,000, it's very rare you get that kind of punch and dynamic range.
Back in the day, big speakers were a sign of devotion to great sound and the love of music. Hairy-chested men would proudly point to their floor-standing giants and proclaim,
"It's my house and I live."
and their wives would say,
I like it.
I love you so much. Oh, you spoiled me now.
With the rise of personal audio devices like Walkman and little ghetto blasters during the 80s and later the iPod, a significant reduction in testosterone levels among the main population meant that speakers, as well as our nuts, started to shrink as a result. A pair of these babies offers a pill against that.
我的小弟弟
He thanks you with his heart and with his penis.
Behold, guys, the Vestlyd V15C speaker. Vestlyd call them power monitors, and they make no excuses for their size or for their loudness. So loud, in fact, that they maxed out our measuring and recording equipment. The majority of the Silverback squad found them very entertaining.
You just want to jump out, grab your air guitar and play along, and you can just turn up the volume without the guitar sounding shrill or edgy in the ears, and you get that nice bottom full roundness. It just kicks you in the chest. And it just works perfectly with that kind of music.
If you had a sound studio and you're mixing away, you got the clients coming in, sitting in the sofa behind you to hear the mix, this is what you'd turn up, switch to and turn up loud to impress them.
Yeah.
So that, yes,
all right,
we got the power.
making us ask ourselves if we have been chasing the wrong things as audiophiles all along, except one. The Vestlyd are currently available in two models, using either a 15-inch like this one or a 12-inch driver. The 15-inch comes in at less than 2,000 euros a pair. If you ever feel underwhelmed or uninspired when jamming to pop and hip-hop and rock or metal tracks on typical hi-fi speakers of the day, these could very well be the medicine you didn't know existed. Buckle up and discover how the Vestlyds here made the team, -1, rethink our relationship with hi-fi. In this review, we look at the engineering, we try to find their limits, and we listen a whole lot, exploring their pros, their cons, and the quirks before giving them a price-adjusted review score and a song to send them off. But first, hit that like button. For even more, consider filling up that subscribe button too. For the ultimate experience, with full access to the listening sessions and much more, consider
Please to help me with my rucksack.
Patreon. Depending on the tier you select, you can also get personal advice directly from me. You'll find it all by clicking the Linktree link in the description of this video. Did you hit that like button yet?
Yes.
So who are these Vestlyd guys? Well, the two models is being sold directly through their website and via the Hi-Fi Klubben store chain in Europe. The shocking truth? It has Peter Lingdorf's fingerprints all over it.
Peter Lindorf at your service.
Yes, the man is everywhere, and he started his career as a Cerwin-Vega distributor, where he might have learned a few things. In that sense, Vestlyd and the company Radiant Acoustics are family, but they couldn't be further apart in terms of what they do for your sound. The Vestlyd sound, and Vestlyd, by the way, means West Sound, starts with a reasonably solid front-ported bass reflex cabinet and a 3cm MDF front baffle, best described as a couple of notches above the cabinet construction quality of, say, a Klipsch Cornwall 4 or 44s, if you know those. The 15C weighs 70 pounds each. There's no visible screws in the cabinet, and they come with both traditional terminals and a professional speak-on connector in the back. They are available in 2 finishes, this concert-style black Napa and a more civilized, quite attractive fake PVC oak finish. Nice! It all actually feels solid and simple. Mounted in the large bass reflex cabinet is what truly makes this speaker. A super powerful ferrite magnet-driven custom long-throw coaxial driver with a neodymium compression treble driver mounted in the middle. It crosses over at 1100 Hz. The result is very high sensitivity at around 95 dBs and power handling up to 500 watts, making these speakers capable of delivering sound pressure levels and dynamics that will make most other speakers cry for their mamas, even with modest amplifiers. In fact, they might hit 130 dB SPL, though we couldn't confirm this because our tool for measuring REWV tapped out at 118 dB SPL. Needless to say, exploring these limits in a domestic room requires ear protection or a highly trained concert engineer like Tim Harris, who laughs at extreme SPL. That's insane, right?
Yeah.
Any weird distortion or anything?
Didn't hear it on that song, but we've got no vocal on top.
Yeah.
We just got a keyboard that hangs over.
I ran out of volume over here.
No problem, we can take it.
Yeah. My God.
Yeah, that's powerful.
The coaxial design ensures even dispersion and a large sweet spot. Great for people who don't want to be chained to a specific chair to enjoy a balanced frequency response. The optional €229 stands elevate and tilt the speakers just right. In my opinion, the stands are essential. They isolate the speakers from the floor and make them look lighter and more elegant in the room. If you're not quite ready to convince your significant other to live with these big-breasted ladies, there's always the smaller 12-inch version, which looks positively cuddly next to the 15-inch. So if your wife isn't indoctrinated yet,
I like it.
try those. They are nearly as capable. Listening to the Vestlyd V15C speakers cracked us up repeatedly. While I've been enjoying these for about 8 weeks, the distinguished listening team had individual half-day sessions. After experimenting with room correction, I decided that I preferred the old-school approach. We used a Wim Pro for room playback paired with a better DAC via the X45 Pro and a Sony HAP Z1ES for Spotify playback. Volume control and amplification was handled by the Yamaha C5000 preamp and the monster Linkdorf MXA 8400 in bridge mode. This setup gave us ridiculous fountains of clean power well above the 15C's rating. Cables used throughout were Supra. I used the Sword Excalibur line supplied by international reseller AV Connection. Before daring to hand over the remote, an important briefing ensured work safety. It can and it will destroy the only body part you care for as audiophiles. You got that, maggots? The Vestlyd sound is all about massive headroom and dynamics and a concert-like experience. In short, if it was food, it would be like...
You ain't gonna be getting no Nouveau, Almondine, thin crust, bottled water, sauteed city food. Food's brown, hot, and plenty of...
something the refined listener Lars struggled to appreciate.
I am a little disappointed.
Okay, it doesn't sound better than what I've got at home, and it shouldn't, and also because of the price. But I actually think it's very aggressive to my ears. It's very harsh, and I don't think the resolution on this specific song, which normally is totally fills the space. It's a huge sound stage, and it's again narrow and very hard in the sound.
All right, beat it, Buns.
Think music feeling physical, but with a forgiving sound profile that really works well in domestic homes at loud volumes. You know what?
What?
A mix from the 90s that we did together.
Wowzers.
Yeah. Usually when I listen to that on hi-fi speakers, you hear the flaws. It's a little harsh. It's a little hard. It got really, really entertaining when I was hearing it on these speakers.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So they're flattering in that sense, yeah?
Yeah, it was very flattering. I think it was way more what we actually went for in the studio, right?
Okay, yeah.
Definitely some low end.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Nice and full and
Yeah.
and rounded down there.
Crank it up a bit. I think it can take it. And nice and big and wide, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely entertaining, that one. What was the production? Was it Q or what?
That was Q.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Both Tim and Sebastian had very similar experiences.
But
That was insane.
Push to the limits.
Wow, that's a great bass test album, this one.
Yep.
It will be featured on the Sonic Snacks playlist, guys.
The story goes that, bass makes up around 30% of what we perceive as sound quality.
Mm-hmm.
So if the bass response is very different in two different rooms, you would rate the speakers very differently. And that's also a reason why I always advocate for some DSP in below 100 hertz, just to tame that bass so you get a more neutral representation of the speaker in that room.
Means a lot.
For me, it's mandatory to do that kind of adjustments.
I looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, but still somehow it's love's illusions that I recall. I really don't know. I really don't know never though.
You were hanging in there for quite some time.
It is lovely. I do a good job on that one. I think the vocal is nice, and but the orchestra is a little bit hidden away. I didn't feel it so much with the normal intensity that I do on that number. I do a very good job of it, but I think some of the S's in the vocal and the sharpness or the overly crisp treble can become a little tiring at louder volumes, and I miss the orchestra's mid-tone power. Yeah, that's where the production gives up. When it gets to the chorus, it's just everything's maxed out.
How does it feel? This you said they feel scooped out in the mid range, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that a good thing with that kind of music?
you don't get attacked by the mid-range, which
Right.
could be too much. When you play this loud, it's 100 dB in listening position, and it was a very compressed, very distorted production. But you don't feel too attacked by it, despite all the heavy guitars and the drums in your face. But it showed the distortion that's in the mix. So it's quite honest in that sense, but it's surprisingly non-painful playing that sort of stuff loud. Mostly because it's despite being bright in the top end, it wasn't a cutting brightness. It's still fairly smooth, but they're quite hyper.
Another interesting characteristic is the low-end roll-off. While you might expect super low sub-bass from these relatively large speakers, the lowest frequencies are rolled off slightly, focused more on a punch than depth. The woofer wrecker.
Woofer wrecker.
There's an intro on it. We gotta hear it.
Yep, sure.
Hello and welcome to Woofer Wrecker. This album will blow your woofers in a matter of seconds if you are not cautious. Please disable any bass epicenters if you have them on. Remember, this is an album by Bassotronics, so you're bound to be blown away by the bass. Enjoy!
You can clearly hear the venue. It's an indoor concert because you have that ringing in the bass.
Yeah.
That's quite, and with this speaker with so much powerful bass, you really hear the room plays a big role in the concert. The way the bass is portrayed.
The Vestlyd V15C reinforced to me that music is all about joy, not just measurements.
This is more fun than it's completely truthful to the record, but this is more in the fun department. Without taking anything away, you can easily hear all the instruments, and the sound stage is okay, and the imaging is also not so bad, but it's not a precise sounding speaker, but it's more like if you just want to kick back and listen to have some fun.
Too many speakers prioritize precision over fun. And while that is great for some genres, it can really strip the soul out of others.
It would be acoustic, classical, small ensembles where you need the small fine details to outline the stage and the whole experience. This is more like they need some more force, and they're more for bombastic kind of music types where the recording quality is not superb, and they're more forgiving for those recordings.
The Vestlyds remind us that music should make you want to move and sing along and maybe annoy the Jesus out of your neighbors a little, just to remind them that they are alive too. This was a speaker I didn't know I was missing. Tracks that felt sterile on more precise hi-fi speakers just came alive and back to me with energy and excitement and punch.
Looking to have fun, want some true dynamics, like to play your music a bit loud. You're into rock, hip-hop, R&B, EDM, that kind of music. I think this is pretty much what will make your music heart tick. If you're into, on the other hand, if you're into a lot of acoustical stuff and want to really pay attention to details and sound staging, maybe that's not for you. But I think it definitely has its audience.
So the Vestlyd speakers really made me reevaluate my connection with music, reinforcing my belief that hi-fi systems should be measured against their emotional impact. I'm just saying, go and try them and take Vestlyd up on their 30-day money-back return policy in the EU. Hang on for the pros, cons, and the price-adjusted review score. and of course, the awesome review song. Thank you for watching, and remember, the world becomes a better place when we just get subbed or get popped.
Dude, can you say that? Get popped, man. It sounds aggressive to me, man.
Shut up. Yeah.
Subbed or popped, it's Sharon home on top. Vestlet in the house, make your eardrums drop. We put the fun back in hi-fi. Don't stop. Other reviewers bluff, but we got the real buff. Yo, it's the Power Monitor King, no cap in this thing. V15C hits harder than your bling. Carrizo Magic, it's the EI dynamic. They're loud, they're proud, and nothing here's static. Other channels talk specs, but we bring the soul. Tim's on the Esley Bell, it's out of control. Fake ochre Napa black, class C as can be. Eero 2K a pair, yeah, they're practically free. Get subbed or popped, it's Sharon home on top. Vestlet in the house, make your eardrums drop. We put the fun back in hi-fi. Don't stop. Other reviewers bluff, but we got the real bop. Audiophile refined, yeah, we're breaking the mold. Speakers so bold, they're pure audio gold. Big drivers flex, no room for the meek. If you're chasing the thrill, let the Vestlet speak. Measurements capped, man, they're off the charts. Dynacs hit hard like a bass drop art. Call it the hi-fi revival, we're leading the way. Stern Home Reviews, bringing truth every day.